There's a moment we all face when someone walks away, a door closes, an invitation never arrives. We call it rejection and we fear it. We internalize it. We let it define our worth. But what if rejection is not what we think it is? What if it's not a verdict, but a redirection, a sacred invitation back to ourselves? Welcome to the sacred art of remembering. And today we soften into the subject that has stung many of us, rejection. We've been taught that rejection means we're not enough, not lovable, not chosen, not worthy. But that's not the truth. That's the story we were given. Here's what I've come to know. Rejection doesn't diminish your worth. It reveals the illusion you've been living inside of. It's a dismantling, a clearing, a mirror that reflects not your failure, but your forgetting. Forgetting that your value was never up for negotiation. Forgetting that your truth does not need to be validated to be real. Rejection is not a punishment. It's often protection. It's a fierce kind of grace. It pulls from your hands what was never truly meant to be held. It interrupts the performance you've been unconsciously giving. It says, you don't have to keep striving to be loved. You already are. You may have felt rejection as a wound, the silence after a phone call, the job you didn't get, the love that wasn't returned. But underneath all that is a deeper call, a call to come home, to reclaim what you gave away for approval. Because we don't just feel rejected by others, we often reject ourselves first. We silence our intuition to keep the peace. We bend our boundaries to be accepted. We shape-shift into what we think others want. And then we wonder why we feel so hollow, why we were so afraid of not being chosen. But here's the truth. When you abandon yourself, rejection by others will always hurt more deeply. The pain of rejection is not always about them. It's about the parts of you still waiting to be reclaimed. It's about the little girl or the little boy who was told they were too much. The teenager who was loved for what they could do, but never for who they were. The adult who confused performance for intimacy. Rejection reopens these wounds, not to shame you, but to give you a second chance to choose yourself. Every time you're not chosen, you have an opportunity to choose yourself, not in defiance, not in bitterness, but in remembrance. You are not less because someone walked away. You are more because you can now walk towards yourself. Rejection strips away false belonging. It reveals the places where your identity was built on sand, and it invites you to rebuild on solid ground, on values that are yours, truths that are yours, a life that is deeply and unapologetically yours. You're not here to fit someone else's mold. You're here to be fully, fiercely, freely yourself. And anyone who requires you to abandon that, to be loved, to be chosen, to be kept, is not aligned with your becoming. Rejection then isn't rejection. It's redirection. So let it go. Let it fall away. Let what isn't meant for you clear the path for what it is. Rejection clears space, and in that space you find your power. Not the loud kind, not the kind that seeks attention, but the kind that says, I know who I am, and I no longer need to prove it. And in that knowing, you become magnetic, not because you try harder, but because you stop trying at all. You started simply being, and that kind of presence, it's rare, it's irreplaceable, because you are no longer a version of yourself crafted to be loved. You are love, in motion, in form, in truth. Rejection will still sting, and that's okay. Let it sting, let it open, let it teach, but do not let it define you. You are not what someone else couldn't see. You are not the dream they couldn't hold. You are the truth, and you are still unfolding. So the next time you feel the ache of rejection, place your hand on your heart and say, I choose you, not because they didn't, but because I finally do. That, my sacred warrior, is a sacred art of remembering, and in that remembrance, you rise. So thank you for listening to this episode. And if you enjoyed it, or there's someone else who you believe would also enjoy it as they take their journey back home, please feel free to share or to subscribe. to the sacred art of remembering.